I'm Richard Gearhart, founder of Gearhart Law, full service intellectual property law firm specializing in patents, trademarks, and copyrights.
And I'm Elizabeth Gearhart, not an attorney, but I help with the marketing at Gearhart Law, and I have my own startups.
Welcome to Passage to Profit, everyone, the road to entrepreneurship, where we talk with entrepreneurs, inventors, small businesses, and discuss the intellectual property that helps them flourish. Today, we have Matt McWilliams, who's an affiliate marketing expert, otherwise known as the affiliate guy. And he's worked with people like Tony Robbins, Shark Tank's Kevin Harrington's, and Zig Ziglar's company too. So he's going to have a lot of information about affiliate marketing for us.
Boy, I'm a little bit intimidated. Then we have Matt Merritt with Snap.Build. So if you've ever had something built for you and your builder hasn't used this, shame on them. So if you're having any building done, and for all you builders out there, you want to check out Snap.Build, Matt's going to explain all about it. It's amazing. And then we have Joanie Eisinger, who is a Gearhart Law client, and she is a spiritual healer, a channel, and a guide. And she has Joanie's White Light Healing, and I have gone on her website. She's amazing. So please stay tuned. It's going to be a great show.
Absolutely. But before we get to our distinguished guests, it's time for IP in the news, and we're going to be talking about trademarks today. And everybody's heard of the band Earth, Wind, and Fire, right?
Hope so.
Right. Very famous band. And, famous bands, lots of times they have the tribute bands, right?
Absolutely.
So it turns out that Earth, Wind, and Fire decided to sue a tribute band for trademark infringement, and they're named Earth, Wind, and Fire Legacy Reunion. And so that's the name of the tribute band. Well, not to just take this lying down, the Earth, Wind, and Fire Legacy Reunion tribute band counterclaimed in the lawsuit against Earth, Wind, and Fire, claiming that the Earth, Wind, and Fire band, the original band, had abandoned their trademark because they let so many other tribute bands use the terms Earth, Wind, and Fire that their trademark rights got diluted and became weak.
Right. So they have September, a tribute to Earth, Wind, and Fire, and Let's Groove
Ooh, I
Tonight.
love that
the
song.
ultimate,
September. Ooh,
the ultimate
dancing
Earth,
in
Wind, and Fire tribute
September.
band. Okay. As well as Earth, Wind, and Fire tribute. So some of the people in this tribute band that they are going after, though, were like backup people in the actual Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Right.
So I don't know if there's some like sort of animosity there because of a past relationship, but it does seem kind of strange that they would go after just one of these.
Right. And we don't know how it's going to turn out yet. It seems a little unfair that Earth, Wind, and Fire would pick on this one particular band when there seems to be at least 10 or 15 out there using the words Earth, Wind, and Fire. But on the other hand, I think it's a great lesson. That is, if you just don't enforce your trademark, then your trademark becomes vulnerable over time if other people start using it.
Right. And I do want to say, since we deal with intellectual property, that we found this article on Billboard online, and it was written by Bill Donahue. So thank you, Bill.
So now it's time for Richard's Roundtable, and I'm going to ask our phenomenal guests today what they think about this situation. And I'm going to start with Kenya Gibson. Kenya, are you with us?
I knew you were going to pick on me first. So what I think is interesting is, when you think about the whole like cover band situation, right? Like there's probably so many other cover bands who could find themselves in a similar scenario. But like, I guess, what are the rules of the road in terms of like music in general? Who can use your music? Who can sing your music? Like, I know there's a lot of royalty stipulations that go into the repurpose or the reuse of music. So I wonder how that plays all into this. And I think the main theme of your snippet, though, was just the use of the Earth, the Wind, and Fire phrase itself. Am I correct?
Yeah. So yeah, the bands have to pay Earth, Wind, and Fire royalties, right? And usually the law is pretty clear that as long as you are showing in your name that it is in fact a tribute band, then you can get away with it. Some of the bands that were not sued were September, a tribute to Earth, Wind, and Fire, and Let's Groove Tonight, the ultimate Earth, Wind, and Fire tribute band. So those bands would argue, well, we're different enough from Earth, Wind, and Fire, and everybody knows that we're a tribute band. The one that got sued was Earth, Wind, and Fire Legacy Reunion. And that sounds like it could actually be Earth, Wind, and Fire reuniting, right? And so
It
maybe
does.
that's why they got upset about it. So so there you have it. You even got to be careful how you name your tribute band. Matt McWilliams, good to have you on the show, Matt.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
What is your opinion on all this?
I think it's what you just said. I mean, the name to me, I mean, that sounds like I'm going to see Earth, Wind, and Fire. Maybe not with maybe with like the original members. Yeah, I don't know their history. I only know one of their songs. Yeah, I'm just young enough to only know one of their songs, and that's only because Jackie Chan. Yeah, long story.
Wait, Jackie Chan? Earth,
Yeah,
Wind, and Fire?
go see the original. Go see the original Rush Hour. You'll know what I'm talking about. And yeah, I mean, it sounds like it's like the original members. I mean, if you had a band called Allman Brothers, Legacy Reunion, I would assume all but the dead, Allman Brothers are gonna be there. They're going to have Dickie Betts. Like, I think he's still alive as far as I know. Somebody could correct me on that, but like, you're going to have the original members. That's what it sounds like to me. But I mean, it's a perfect example to me, like tribute bands, you're playing with, pardon the expression, but you're playing with fire. You're playing with the,
That was
you're
building pun.
It's, yeah, I didn't mean it when I first started to say it, actually. So unintentional pun, as I often say.
But you're right though.
But
I will say that one of the things that brought out in the article is people bought tickets thinking
there you go,
that this was Earth, Wind, and Fire, and they got upset because Earth, Wind, and Fire didn't show up. It was a tribute band.
Yeah.
And people were asking for their money back. So in any case,
crazy.
I think it's kind of an odd situation. Yeah. Matt Merritt, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
What are your thoughts here?
I've actually had to defend myself actually in the past. And so what you open the show with and speaking about, if you do not defend it and you do leave it open for interpretation, it erodes the value and it erodes your position overall. I'm following along with you guys that the reality of the situation is it could very well be that they are the actual reunion band. And I could see where that would be misleading. And if I don't know how long it had gone on or how many other these tribute bands have been around and for how long, but I think it's that crossing that line into almost a misrepresentation of who they think they or representing who they are. And that probably more than anything raises the ire of the original band and probably, brings it to a level of they needed to take some type of action and lay down some type of a demarcation. So to me, listen, I've been to many tribute bands, most notably is the nine different Beatles tribute bands that have been out there, but
there's only 9.
Yeah, but I in all of those and enjoying them. Yeah,
no, I think we've been to like I've only been to one tribute band. I think
yeah, that's Crosby, Stills, Nash. Lisa Ascalisa says.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And with all due respect to them, they're not quite as good as the original band was.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
it's fun. It's a fun night, So.
And I do want to say something after Joanie goes about an issue this raises.
Okay, well, Joanie, so what are your thoughts on this whole trademark situation?
First, I want to thank you for having me. I'm going to go outside of this box and go into my spiritual world. When I hear stories like this, I immediately think about the spiritual growth opportunities that these groups have, the original band and the one that's getting it. And I go in, or folks who channel go in, and they can identify whether the band that's receiving the ire is receiving karmic debt, whether they're playing by opposites and this band actually was an original and they were possibly being frauded or duped or made an example of. It could be a curiosity situation where both parties are curious to play out this battle. It could be being of service, that by the band who is getting it, that they are now, as being an example, they are assisting other copy bands to watch how they position themselves in the industry. It could also be that that band that's getting the ire did that before, and that they were a copy, and that there was unforgiveness, and karma's karma. So whether it's playing by opposites, karmic debt, curiosity, whatever it might be, my take on this is that both parties have the opportunity to learn and balance and create something better from what is going on, which is a battle between who's right and who's wrong.
Yeah, and I want to go off something that you said, in that a lot of times people will take somebody else's trademark and tweak it a little, or add something to the end or whatever. And we've gone over that with other trademarks in this show before, and that doesn't work. You can't do that.
Right.
But there is a place you can go to learn more about trademarks. Where would you go?
Well, I'd go to learn more about trademarks.com, and I would download our free
Well, there's-
information packet on trademarks and possibly book a consultation with me at learnmoreabouttrademarks.com.
There you have it.
Well, you set me up perfectly for that. Anyway, I think we're done with Richard's roundtable for
Those are
today, and I
great
want to get to,
comments.
yeah, I thought that was amazing. It's time now for Matt McWilliams, who's an affiliate marketing expert, and I'm really a novice when it comes to affiliate marketing. I know nothing about it. I've heard the term before, but we have the affiliate guy on the program today. He's written
So
several
excited.
books, and he's worked with some of the top people in business. So welcome to the show, Matt. Tell us, what is affiliate marketing?
Yeah. Before I answer that, I do want to go back to the trademark thing, because I think there's actually there's another lesson in there that we didn't touch on. Tribute bands are essentially building their entire business platform on someone else's platform. It is no different than building your business on social media. You know, I mean, like, people think, well, Facebook's gonna be around forever. We thought the same thing about MySpace. Twitter's going to be around forever, not according to the stock numbers, you know? And so if you were building your business on anyone else's platform, you're essentially renting your audience. And to me, that's one of the things that they're doing. Like, any tribute band is essentially setting themselves up to potentially be sued. They just aren't, because of, you know, they maybe hired somebody like you. So anyway, just wanted to say, I mean, affiliate marketing.
Yep.
The concept of affiliate marketing has been around since, I mean, I would imagine since the dawn of man. I mean, all we did was add technology to it 30 years ago. You know, the concept of referring business to someone else. You know, the ancient Romans were like taking each other by the hand and walking each other to the deli. I don't know if they had delis in ancient Rome. I haven't studied ancient Rome well enough to know that, but let's just assume they had delis, because all advanced civilizations have delis.
Well, they had Italian food at least, right?
They did. They had the original Italian food.
Yeah.
I'm assuming they had pizza, because I'm just assuming pizza's too good to have
Calzones
been
are
invented
actually
in the last
hundreds of
5,000
thousands of
years.
years old.
And so they, you know, they would take them down and they'd say to the, you know, the one Roman would say there, like, hey, let me introduce you to so-and-so. And he'd be like, cool, thanks. That's a new customer. Your next meal's on me. That's affiliate marketing. All we've done is kind of depersonalized it in the last 30 years so that we can use things like affiliate tracking links and technology so that I can market to my audience. You know, I have, you know, 100,000 people in my audience. I don't know 99,850 of them. There's maybe about 100 to 150 of them whose names I would even know. That's not because I'm a terrible person. It's just, it's reached the level of impossibility, right? And so I'm able to market to them, recommend products and services that maybe I have experience with, or I don't have experience with, but I think will best serve them. And in exchange, that company is going to give me a commission. I mean, ad score, that's all it is.
So this really plays itself out on the internet, right? I mean, this
Yep.
is what you're doing. You're putting somebody else's product or a link to somebody else's product on your website. Is that, and then if somebody buys, you get a referral fee.
Yep. Yeah, I mean,
that's that simple.
We've added there's a line of code basically that says, hey, Richard referred this person. If a sale is made, you know, share some of the profit with them. I mean, again, I'm oversimplifying it, but, you know, at its core, that's all it is.
So I don't see as much affiliated marketing as I think I would, because I don't see it on every website I go on. Are there certain types of websites where this is more important or more typical?
No, I mean, we've worked with clients in every conceivable niche and industry. I mean, if you're we used to play a game. We called it Stump the Affiliate Guy, where we'd say, okay, give me your niche and I will tell you how to do affiliate marketing. And only one time did I ever have to go, wow, that was deep. It was a guy who worked with government contractors. I'm like, and even then I said, well, you work with government contractors who run businesses, therefore leadership. You should be promoting leadership products to your audience. I mean, just think about what you guys do with this show. I'm just going to rattle off some things that come up to me off the top of my head. Obviously you have other people who might want to start a podcast. They've seen how you started a podcast. They want to know how you did. So there's a course you took that you could recommend. Your microphones have affiliate links. You can buy those on Amazon. Let's just say $300, Amazon pays you, a few percent. Maybe they have their own link, their own that company that sells those microphones has affiliate, an affiliate program. There are links for all the tools you use, your host, your website host. I mean, your any landing page builders you use or funnel software that you use, like ClickFunnels. I mean, I'm just naming things that come to mind off the top of my head. Like those are just like the lowest hanging fruit. People ask me all the time, like about videos, because we do a lot of videos. Okay. So you got the lighting kits, you got the microphone, you got, the software that's used to edit the videos, or the service. Like I have a podcast editor. So people say, well, Matt, your podcast sounds really good. Cool. It's not because I'm special. It's because my editor makes it sound amazing. And we pay him a lot of money to do that. Here's a link where you can, sign up with him. And if you sign up with him, I get a percentage of everything you spend with them. Those are just like,
I'm writing all these
right
down,
off the top of my
by
head.
the way.
Yeah.
And
there's 100 more.
I mean,
Well,
there's
so-
100 more.
Yeah. So I have a question for you, Matt. Can I go?
go. I'm not stopping.
Did he tap you?
No, but I'm gonna go anyway.
He's
so-
independent.
It's like tag team wrestling over there. Like, okay, tag, you're in.
I wish we could.
You're giving away all of our secrets.
But so I'm assuming I've listened to a couple of your podcasts and videos. So what I'm gathering is it does take some energy to set this up. It does take
Absolutely.
some effort, and you have to have the right software, and you have to talk to the people, and you have to get them on board. But let's say that I get somebody on board. Let's say we have consumer products people that come on here all the time. Let's say I get the guy that was selling jam that came on, and he wants to do an affiliate link with me. So we set that up. Can I just set it and leave it? Or do I have to go back and check it all the time? Do I have to hire somebody to help me make sure it's working right?
Yeah. So there's a couple things you can do there, just from a tech perspective. First of all, if you're on WordPress, we recommend using a plugin called Pretty Link. It just allows you to create a link. So for instance, my Pretty Link, I mentioned ClickFunnels earlier. I already know it because I know I've memorized them. It's mattmcwilliams.com/ClickFunnels. That will redirect to an ugly link that's like clickfunnels.com / a bunch of gibberish that says that's Matt's affiliate link. Okay. It's butt ugly link. I don't want to try to share that because there's 74 characters in it that nobody's going to remember. So you could have, your website / jam. And that goes to the guy's jam company. Now, here's the cool thing about that. You might have that link, for instance, that link I mentioned, your jam one might only be in one episode. How often are you going to be talking about jam? I don't know, probably never again. But
Right.
I talk about ClickFunnels all the time. I talk about Pretty Link all the time. I talk about these tools all the time. They might be on 17 different YouTube videos, 14 blog posts, 12 podcast episodes, and in 14 emails that are in our automation sequence, right? I got to update 60, 70 of those. If my link changes, if they change platforms, no. What I do is if they change platforms, my link changes in any way, and I'll talk about another situation in a second. I just go into Pretty Link, change it one time. It automatically populates. 2 seconds later, if you click on that link on my YouTube video, it goes to the right link. The other use case scenario on that is let's use that jam. Now let's pick a different example. Let's say you're recommending a microphone. And you have a thing today where you recommend the blah, blah, blah microphone, and it's your website / blah, 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 right? 2 years from now, that company goes out of business. That you can't recommend that microphone because it doesn't exist.
Sell it, right?
Plus, you found a better one that you recommend. Maybe it's the same quality, but it's $100 less. And why not recommend a better product to your audience? you can now actually redirect that link to a page on your site that says, hey, in the past, I recommended the blah, blah, blah microphone. I no longer recommend that. Here's why. Here's my new recommendation. And it goes to the new link. So it becomes really easy to redirect things.
So Matt, in the case of the microphone company,
Mm-hmm.
do they have to agree to pay a commission for our affiliate links, or do they already have a program? How do I have to get their permission to do this?
No. If you sign up and they accept you into their program, I mean, they always have the right to decline any affiliate for any reason.
Most companies have affiliate programs.
Most companies do. I mean, they're like, people say all the time, like, should I start an affiliate program? I'm like, well, Walmart and Target have one, and Apple has one. I mean, 3 of the biggest companies on earth. What makes you think you shouldn't? But yeah, I mean, if they accept you into their affiliate program, and I've always had the philosophy, and most bigger programs operate by this. They're not super selective, providing, we're not taught like hate speech and, like adult content and things like that. Things they don't want their brand to be associated with. If you're like, for the microphone company, you guys talk about intellectual property. You're not exactly on brand for that podcast company. They don't expect you to send thousands of customers to them. But if you get one request a month that says, well, you guys sound great on your podcast, what mic do you use? And you make them 12 sales a year, why would they decline those 12 sales a year? Because they probably have 2,000 used. That's 24,000 microphones a year they're selling through these tiny little affiliates. I mean, one of you guys are making, $500 a year promoting them. It's not a huge revenue stream, but to them, they've got potentially hundreds or thousands of views. So it benefits them to work with smaller affiliates like you.
So now I'm going to play devil's advocate for a minute. If I talk with my marketing department and I say, should I start affiliate marketing? Are they going to say, well, Richard, we want people to stay on your website. We don't want people clicking on links going off to affiliate websites. I mean, you're paying all this money to have your website SEO'd and pay-per-clicked and everything else. Why would you want anybody to go anywhere else? And
for one, you guys have a limited scope of how you serve your audience. I call it the affiliate donut. If you think of the hole in the donut, that is your expertise, the things that you're going to create products, services, coaching, courses for, right? You're not going to go on that periphery. So for instance, just thinking about what you guys are doing, you're not going to probably create a course teaching podcasting. You're more than certainly, I'd be willing to bet a lot of money on this. You're not going to start a podcast microphone company. And yet your audience came to you and said, Richard, what microphone to use? Your 2 options are serve them by recommending what you offer, what you use, and use a link to make a little bit of money, or say, I don't know, just pick a microphone, whatever, screw you. Those are your 2 options.
Yeah, here's the irony of this: is we do tell people they need a microphone to come on the show, and we tell them we recommend one.
Use an affiliate link.
Yes, I was about to say.
Yeah. And so Richard, to answer your question, you're sending them off site, but you're doing so in a way that serves them. You are serving them. They will remember that. And here's the thing: they then start a podcast, and they're 50 episodes in, and they're having success with their podcast. Those good feelings, that good juju that they have, goes back to you. And while yes, they had to leave your site to get the microphone, it's most people. I mean, I have fairly mild ADD. I might forget what the heck I was doing, but at some point I'll look back at that tab and oh, that's right, I was researching IP. Okay, and I'll be back on track. But I'll be like, but that's the guy that recommended that microphone that's going to be here in 2 days, and I get to start my podcast. My relationship with you, my bond with you is actually tighter. And that's a common misconception. We think, oh, if I promote somebody else's stuff and send them off my site, I kind of look at that. It's a scarcity mindset. Like they can buy a podcast mic and research IP in the same lifetime, and not get distracted.
Kenya, let's get to it.
We have to get Kenya in here. So Kenya, what's your question?
Well, first of all, I love the name of your book, Turn Your Passions into Profits. Passions to Profit, or Passion to Profit was almost the name of the show. Am I wrong?
Yeah.
Weren't we going to name it that at first? And then
it was Passion to Profit.
We were close to that. And then it was taken. So kudos to you for having a great title to a book.
But my question, thank my agent. He's the one who came up with that one.
Yeah, no, it's really, really great. and I want to talk a little bit about passion for a second, because I think like having an online business is great, but obviously you're teaching people via your book how to leverage their passions and turning that into profitability. So let's talk a little bit about how you're helping to do that with your book.
I mean, it starts with, I mean, the very first step in the whole process is actually getting clarity on your passion. Most people don't do that first. Most people kind of have like an idea. Like I got into blogging years and years and years ago, and I got into it from a perspective. I thought like I wanted to be into personal growth and leadership and things like that because I love those things. You know, I mean, having worked with people like Tony Robbins and whatnot, I'm obviously into personal growth, and guys like Les Brown and Zig Ziglar and Tony and other people have had such a huge impact on my life. I'm like, oh, I want to do that. But here's the thing. It's actually not what I was passionate about. Like I'm passionate about it from the perspective of how it affects me. I was not passionate about teaching others. And so I walk you through this whole process. I mean, it really just starts with, you know, step kind of part one is just asking like, what are people always asking you for help with? Nobody was coming to me saying, Matt, I have trouble getting motivated. Can you help me? Nobody was coming to me saying, Matt, I need help with personal growth or leadership. They kept coming to me saying, Matt, I need help with monetizing. I need help with starting an affiliate program. I need help with, you know, making more money with my online business, because that's what I was known to them for. The second question is just like, what is it that people are always saying is interesting about you? And I don't know if any of you are fans of the podcast Hardcore History with Dan Carlin, but it's my favorite podcast. I'm a history buff. I love it. And to give you some perspective, when he releases a new episode, you guys will appreciate this, Richard and Elizabeth. It is the #1 episode on every platform for multiple days. Not in its category, but overall, it's millions and millions of downloads. But Dan's not a historian. So how the heck did he start a history podcast? It was because he would go to Thanksgiving and they'd be talking about something that was happening in the world. Next thing you know, he's off on this 30-minute diatribe telling a story about the soldiers at the Battle of the Bulge. And people are captivated. And they're like, Dan, this is fascinating. This is amazing. So he started a podcast about it. And then the last one is, you know, what is it that you used to struggle with, but now you actually are successful with? And I talk about it's the longest story in the book. My friend Alan Thomas, he's a weight loss coach. And his whole thing was, he was 55 years old. He'd been overweight for 45 of those years. He stood on the scale, weighed 302 pounds. 9 months later, he weighed 175 pounds. All he does today is teach others how he did it. That's it. He discovered like that was my passion, was helping people who are in that. He doesn't want to help the 25-year-old who's 30 pounds overweight become like a model. That's not his thing. He wants to help like the 50-year-old, the 55-year-old, the 60-year-old, the 65-year-old who's 300, 400 pounds be able to not die in 5 years, you know, because he had that realization that like, I'm going to be Angie's first husband. Somebody else is going to walk my daughter down the aisle. And he was also in life insurance, and he realized that the actuarial tables had him dying in 5 years.
He sees that every day, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, he's staring it in the face.
Yeah. So that's the process to kind of first to get clarity on that passion. And then of course the whole book goes into everything else you need to do. That's you know, it's episode in of itself, but that gives you a starting point.
So Matt, that's great. We have to take a break right now, but we'll be back with more of Matt McWilliams right after this. You're listening to Passage to Profit with Richard and Elizabeth Gearhart, and we'll be right back after this.
Well, welcome back, listeners. You are listening to Passage to Profit, The Road to Entrepreneurship with Richard and Elizabeth Gearhart, and of course, Kenya Gibson, and our incredible guest today, Matt McWilliams, who is teaching us all about how to do affiliate marketing, which I am just really thrilled about. I had an ulterior motive for bringing him on the show today. I wanted to learn about it the same time Richard did, because I think it's something that we need to be doing on our website. And when we got the show notes for this from our assistant, she listed 5 distinct advantages of having an affiliate program. And I would like for Matt to go over those now.
Yeah. So we're kind of shifting gears. Like we talked about making money as an affiliate. This would shift over into more of like, okay, the other side, like how do we get leads? How do we get traffic, leads, and sales by having people promote us? And I just think every company should have an affiliate program, unless you just can't take on more customers, in which case, why are you listening to this? I don't know. You know, like if you want to grow, if you're in a growth stage, you need an affiliate program. Otherwise, no, some people call it a referral program. You know, you can call it a partner program, something like that. The first advantage is very simple. You make money before you spend it. You know, every other form of marketing, like newsflash, Facebook ads can be very profitable. But if you're starting out, you don't have, 6 figures in the bank. it can be difficult to commit to paying Zuckerberg a lot of money before you see any return. So being profitable before you make anything, or before you actually have to spend anything, is super, super helpful. You only pay for performance. That's the big thing. You might spend $10,000 on Facebook ads and see nothing. I tell people all the time, you want to run ads, you can only spend what you're willing to lose. But there's no way you possibly lose money because you only pay for the transactions. The second thing is it's infinitely scalable. You run a good Facebook ad, you ran a good Facebook ad. It'll probably run its course in 3 to 4 months and die off. But with affiliates, like, they refer other people. If you go work your butt off to find 10 really good affiliates, they will refer you 5 to 10 really good affiliates. They talk to each other. They will see their other, they'll see people in their niche promoting you and go, wait, they're promoting him. I wonder if they have an affiliate program. Like, I wonder if I could sign up for that. I wonder if I could promote that too. And everybody has an audience today. It used to be, when I got into the game 20 years ago, the only people that you had that were affiliates were people who had email lists, people who had audiences, actual other businesses. Everybody has an audience today. Everybody has at least 50 people in their social network that they could market to. And so everybody's a potential affiliate. The third thing is there's no guessing at targeting. When I got into online business, in the early 2000s, it was like the wild, wild west. There was no demographic, psychographic, any type of targeting. It was all mass media. Today, though, like, we can target, and we can get so caught up in targeting, so myopic, that, like, we're only targeting, men ages, 31 to 33 who live in, a certain area with 3.2 kids. Their favorite football team is in the NFC West, and it's like, what is going on here? So there's no guessing at targeting because the affiliates do it for you. The fourth one is just the warmth of the prospects. If you think about it, an affiliate is a third party saying nice things about you. So when they refer somebody to you, they're already halfway there. I went to like John Bon Jovi in my head there. I got distracted, like living on a prayer.
I hear it.
Anyway,
I heard that.
Take my hand, we'll make it, I swear. All right. So we're all there now. We're coming back. Sorry, I told you I had mild ADD. But the warm prospects, like, they're saying nice things about you before they come to your site. Like, that doesn't happen. Like, nobody goes to Facebook going, what I really like to do today? I'd like to see 3 ads for a weight loss supplement. And then I like one about entrepreneurship, maybe one about soccer, because I'm a fan of soccer because of my kids. And so I get a lot of soccer offers on my Facebook. Like, I just really, I just want that today. But when somebody says nice things about you before they even click, like I said, we're halfway there. And then the fifth one is just success equals more success. So when you, like I said earlier, when you get a couple of affiliates, you get a couple more, and it starts to build on itself. And these affiliates become competitive with each other, and you can do things like contests and prizes and things like that, where now, they all want to be the top affiliate, or they all want to be one of your top 10 affiliates. I just did this. I just promoted something as an affiliate. And my goal was, I hadn't finished in the top 10 in this big affiliate launch, one of the biggest on the internet. I hadn't finished in the top 10 since 2018. I'm like, this is the year I'm going to finish top 10 again. And we pulled out everything we could as a team, to be able to do that. And we did. And so that competition drove me to make more sales. And it became less about making the sales for them and more about the fact that I have a bit of an ego and wanted to finish top 10. And so it leads to that. Whereas, again, Facebook ads don't do that. Other forms of advertising don't do that, but affiliates do.
So you say you talk about your affiliates all the time. Is that something that you feel is really important? So what if you have 50 affiliates? Do you talk, and you talk about pretty links and you talk about ClickFunnels? What do you do about the other 100 or however many you have?
As far as like companies that I promote, I promote them in context. So the other day I did a video and it was all about setting up a funnel. So of course I talked about ClickFunnels, because that's the software. I did a video recently where I talked about the new FTC guidelines. And, Richard, you may be an attorney, you may have a little bit of knowledge of that, but, the FTC just released new guidelines for influencer and affiliate marketing. Not new rules, but new clarifications of existing rules. And because it's a government agency, they're, 15 years behind. And so, they should have released
By the
these
time it's
2008, but they
implemented, it'll be
finally
another
did.
15 years behind. Right.
Yeah, exactly. I had the very fortunate experience of getting sued by the FTC once. So I got to spend 2 days with their attorneys where they consistently in the transcript referred to pay-per-click marketing as paperclip marketing. And I went, oh God, these people are running a government agency.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, so I'm an expert at these things because of that. And, they just released these new guidelines. So what did I like? How could you connect that to, well, there are tools to monitor. Brand Verity is one. There's a couple others. Brand Verity is the one that we use. And I don't necessarily recommend them because they're super expensive. So I don't recommend them to most people. I recommend some less expensive alternatives if you just have a small affiliate program. So I'm like, if you want to monitor your affiliates, because as now that one of the clarifications they released this year is you are in charge. If you are an affiliate manager, you're running an affiliate program, you are in charge of monitoring your affiliates. Well, there's automated tools out there that are $19.95 a month that'll do the work for you. So I recommended those in the episode. So it's all about context. It's just in my brain, I'm thinking the question that our operations manager asks me every week, what are we selling? What are we selling? So when I release an episode, when I release content, I'm either selling something of my own. It could be a very passive way, like I'll just link to it and that's it. Or I'm recommending some things as an affiliate because I can't afford as a business owner to write a 4,000 word blog post and pay a copywriter to do that and do the research. And we spend 20 hours putting that to get content together and make $0. Like if I can sell, sell 10 of those subscriptions to that FTC, monitoring stuff, and I make $10 a month for the next 10 years off of it. Okay. That paid for the time it took to write that post. So you just have to think like, what could I sell? What are the products? How does this tie into the affiliate programs that I promote?
So Matt, we've talked
just becomes
about
a mindset, Elizabeth.
So we've talked about, sort of inbound affiliate marketing where you're connecting with other products, and then I guess outbound. Do I have these terms correct? Where you are seeking to promote your products with your own affiliate program.
Yeah, I would use those in reverse. I would say inbound would be you have an
reverse.
affiliate program. Yeah, outbound would be I'm recommending somebody else's product. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
potato.
What have been the most profitable programs that you've personally been involved in? And so kind of what are the numbers that you could potentially get to? Because there is a lot of effort, or at least some effort, in setting some of this stuff up, right? And you've got to get the software, you've got to go out and dress up your website and all these other things, right? So what is, I guess, what is the best return on investment you've gotten, and what could somebody reasonably expect, if they do it right?
I mean, obviously, the bigger the audience, the more money you're going to make. I mean, it really does come down to that. I mean, our students and clients, and we are really good at monetizing smaller audiences, but all things being equal, if I have 10,000 people and you have 100,000, you're going to probably make at least 5 times more than me. The bigger your audience gets, you do lose some of that intimacy. So it's not always like, oh, my audience is 10 times bigger, I make 10 times more money. There is a point where it's usually like you're 10 times bigger and you make 9 times more, just to be clear. I'm not going to share, I will share one example of a program that's been hugely profitable, but it doesn't mean anybody else should promote this, because the answer to the question, like, what's the most profitable affiliate program out there? It's the one that best serves your audience. It's the one where you don't have to think, how in the heck am I going to market this to my audience? How this is hard. This feels like work. Am I sure where you're a little afraid they're going to reject the offer? Like, they might reject buying, but they should never reject the offer. Like, if you're recommending something, you should be confident that they're going to be like, yeah, I could see where that'd be a good idea for me. I'm going to pass on that today, but I could see that. You don't want to be like, what the heck are they? Why are Richard and Elizabeth promoting this weight loss pill? That does not fit.
Of course
not. What the heck are they doing?
We don't need that, right? So
yeah, it's just weird. It doesn't fit. So the best offer is what's best for your audience. That's number one. I'll give you an example. One where it was not one of those ones where we made like $25,000 in a week, and we have had those. But there's a company we promote that's an email they're an email company. So you build your list, and that's how you email your list. And we make $10 per person that signs up, but it's $10 per person per month. And we started promoting them 7 years ago. And today we make about $3,500 to $4,000 a month, every single month. Most of the people, we still send them 2-3 new customers every month, but that means we're making $30 in new stuff. Most of the people that are in that, I think it's like $3,800 a month right now, we referred before the pandemic started. You know, I mean, these are people that have been around, and we're just continuing to make money every single month off of them. So for me, that's the best one.
So if you're making a referral or affiliate marketing program for a continuing service, do you get a continuing reimbursement for that, or is it only for the first time that they sign up? So if
it depends.
It depends on the affiliate program.
I recommend to affiliate program owners, here's the reason why I recommend you continue to pay, because if they stop paying me, I will stop promoting them. You know, and so I look at the ongoing commission not only as a very attractive thing on the front end, because that's one of the reasons why we promoted them in the first place. Was I'm like, you know, I can do the math. If we do a big thing and bring in, you know, 100 customers, I'm going to make, you know, potentially 6 figures over the next decade. That's very attractive. So you're trying to make the offer attractive as an affiliate program owner. The second thing is, you know, every month when they send me money, not every month, but probably 6, 7 months out of the year, when I get that notification, because sometimes I don't see them, I see that notification like, oh, they sent $3,780. I go, you know, that reminds me. And they go, you know, we should do a promo for them. Let me look at my calendar, and we'll schedule a promo 2 months from now to promote them. The company's called ConvertKit, and we'll do that. And it's a marketing cost to them. Like, they could go spend that $3,800 on, you know, Facebook ads and get some new customers, or they could send it to me and remind me that they exist and want to promote them more. And we do. Yeah. And so, especially because we coached their affiliate team, so they do what we told them to do, which is don't just send the payment. You also send a separate email that says, hey, just want to let you know, we sent you $3,780. By the way, we have a big event coming up in 2 months if you want to promote it. And I go, yes. I go, thank you. I would like to do that, because what better time to ask me to promote you than when you just gave me money.
Right.
And so, yeah, it helps that their affiliate team actually knows what they're doing.
Kenya, do you have thoughts or questions?
No, I think what you're doing is great. I've done some affiliate marketing. I do agree with you that you definitely need to be passionate about like what you're promoting, and it has to be authentic. Otherwise, people just won't buy it and it just won't be transferable. I guess, say you're somebody who doesn't have a whole lot of interest, right? And like maybe you don't specialize in a particular thing. Are there any products or affiliate marketing opportunities that are kind of universal in the space that someone could take advantage of if they don't have a particular niche or lane that they're in?
Any consumer products, and it's going to be deal oriented, you know. So kind of like I have a bunch of friends in that. The best term to describe them would be mommy bloggers. They hate that term, just to be clear. They don't like to be called mommy bloggers, but I don't know how else to describe them. Blogs who gave birth to offspring, you know, I mean, I don't know.
Maybe mompreneurs. I don't know, something.
Yeah. And well, see, and then but they have a blog and they have an audience that specifically comes to their blog or follows them on social media for things like deals. And, you know, deal bloggers is another one, things like that. Those are more universal, because you can say, you know, Target's got, you know, buy 2, get 1 free toilet paper, you know, and there's like, none of us are going, man, toilet paper. Oh, I just love talking about TP. You know, let's talk about butt wipes. Like, who gets excited about that? Nobody does. Or, you know, buy 1, get 1 free Totino's pizza. Like, even the people who work at Totino's aren't excited about Totino's pizza. Trust me, I lived off it for like a year when in my early 20s, because I was broke. And when I was starting my first business, and that's a long story that we don't have time for today. But like, the idea there is like, those are types of things where there are more universal. You don't have to be passionate about the products that you're promoting. I'm not passionate about the light kit that I use for our videos, for example. I don't even know the name of it. I put it on our resources page. We get asked twice a month. We sell, you know, 8 of them a year. I'm not passionate about it, but again, I'm serving my audience through that. So yeah, any type of consumer products are going to probably be a little bit more universal that I'm not going to promote because that's not what my audience comes to me for. But some people do. That's their thing. They sign up for deals and coupons.
So it sounds to me like we couldn't just slap a couple pieces of software on our website and have an affiliate program. Darn. But I'm assuming that you consult with a lot of people who want to start this. Is that right? And you kind of tell them all the pieces they need to put together, because there's a lot of moving parts to this, right? Like Richard pointed out, there's two sides to the affiliate thing. You can have your own affiliate program, or you can go to somebody else's. So how do people find you if they want to consult with you on starting an affiliate program or joining one?
Yeah, best place to go would be youraffiliatelaunchcoach.com. If you're interested in like consulting or coaching to start one, that's also kind of the gateway to our agency. MattMcWilliams.com. Probably the best place to go if you're kind of a DIY or a DIY person, you want to kind of get this off the ground. Maybe your budget prohibits working with an agency or something. MattMcWilliams.com/first100 FIRST100. That'll walk you through kind of where to like start an affiliate program. But yeah, I mean, any of those places are good. Yeah, we do consulting, coaching. We obviously have an agency, and you mentioned some of our clients earlier that we've worked with. And don't be intimidated. Like we also work with, you said you were intimidated, Elizabeth, but we still work with like smaller entrepreneurs as well. Most of our clients are, somewhere between low 7 figures to mid 6 figures. They're not the, multi-millionaires of the world, so to speak.
What if you have a business starting up at 0 figures?
Then I would recommend the very first thing I would do, in all seriousness, is I would start an affiliate program. It is by far the lowest risk way. It's how I started my first business. Like we were broke. We had, when I say no revenue, it's a little bit of an exaggeration. We were making about $2,000 a week. 18 months later, we had over $1 million a month in revenue just from our affiliate program. We started with nothing and grew. And it is, again, we could not have afforded. We didn't have $5,000 to $10,000 to go, run ads. It was too risky. We had to do an affiliate program. That was the only option we had. And so to me, it is, again, it's the lowest risk, fastest way to possibly scale. And even if I took out the fact that it's worked in every niche and every client we've ever worked with, and I took that out and said, okay, it might not work. Well, at least you didn't lose anything. If you try an affiliate program and it doesn't work, you're not out any money. You're not broke. You're not going into debt versus like, again, running ads where it's like, oh, we wake up 2 months later and you're 25 grand in debt. That sucks.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Well, we have to take another commercial break, and we'll be back with more Passage to Profit right after this. Welcome back, everybody. It's Passage to Profit with Richard and Elizabeth Gearhart. We just had an amazing discussion with Matt McWilliams about affiliate marketing, and we really hadn't had any information about affiliate marketing on the program before. So I'm really glad that he stopped by.
It's kind of like talking to a patent attorney. You go think maybe you could do it yourself, and then you talk to him.
And the more you talk to him, the more you're like, oh my gosh, this is.
Go see this guy's website.
Let me go get some help.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's time now for Power Move, and Kenya Gibson is our power mover. Who's on the block today?
Yeah, so I'm really excited about Power Move. We're going to be talking about Deion Sanders, also known as Coach Prime. So besides his successful professional sports career as an athlete, until the other day, he was one of the most underestimated figures in sports. He got a lot of slack for going over to the University of Colorado to coach. And he was the talk of college football after a great win that they had the other day. And it was amazing. He took a team that was 1-11, and he took them from being worst to almost first. They beat TCU, and it's really excited for him because, again, he was really underestimated. There was a lot of negativity in the marketplace about him, and he really used this as an opportunity to prove all the naysayers wrong and make them believers. So I just kind of wanted to highlight his coaching style and his leadership and how he's been able to not just transform the play, but transform the mindset of his players, which is a superpower move.
Absolutely. Amazing. Yeah. A good coach can make such a difference, right? So that's great. And Elizabeth, it's time now for your spot. What are you going to talk about today?
Well, I have 2 projects going on besides this one and the marketing. So I don't know. But I have Blue Streak Directory, which is a business directory of B2B businesses. And I've been thinking about how to reimburse people for sending people to be on the site. It's a recurring revenue site. And listening to Matt McWilliams today, I'm thinking, well, maybe I should it's a WordPress site. Maybe I should just plug in this affiliate software and use it. So I'm going to take a look at that. And they're still working on the website, and we'll see how that goes. I do have a landing page. It's bluestreakdirectory.com. And I love the design they've done. We'll see how the rest of it goes. And then, of course, I have my own podcast with Danielle Woolley, which is called the Jersey Podcats podcast, where we talk about cats and we talk about dogs too sometimes. And
you ever run out of things to say about cats?
It's surprising. No. And let's come up with brand new topics, which I'm not allowed to disclose here because we're going to be talking about them on the podcast. And we never run out of people that want to come on and talk about their relationship with their cats and all these different things. Do you know that there are different archetypes of cats?
What's an archetype?
Well, some cats are healers. Some cats are
they have like
protectors,
super cat powers.
They have super cat powers.
Wow,
yeah.
I didn't know that. Do our cats have super cat powers?
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness.
So
I better be careful. I don't want to get on a super cat's bad side.
But we started the podcast for Max, and Max is my teacher because the cat had a terrible condition that I had to figure out how to cure, or at least control. It's not cured. So we're getting just incredible people coming on. We had a guy the other day who was a physician, but also in theater in New York, and had just produced this animated cartoon about a cat based on an old Scandinavian folk story. I mean, just really cool people. So I'm having fun with that. So without further ado, though, I would like to move on to our next presenter. So we have two Matts on today, Matt McWilliams, who just heard, and then Matt Merritt with Snap.Build, Snap.Build. And we were saying before the show, we wish we had worked when we had a project we did with the builder, wish that he had this software. It sounds just amazing. So welcome, Matt. Can you please explain it?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys so much for having us, having me on, having all of us on. Matt McWilliams, I've got to tell you, I was sitting here and making mental notes about all of the different affiliate programs that we should be working on, quite frankly, within Snap.Build. So probably reaching out to you and your team afterwards as well. So thank you for that introduction. But no, Snap.Build.
Do I get like an affiliate marketing commission
there
for
you
this
go.
connection? I think I deserve something, right?
I think that's
we do have a great referral program, and yeah, so absolutely, I will put you in it, and there you go.
Yeah. So Snap.Build is really it is a lending platform for the building industry, as well as a fintech software platform for that same building industry. What the building industry, we're talking about, building a house and talking to the actual builder, not necessarily the owner of the house, but it is a technology platform that allows that builder to just be more organized. I'm not talking about building a Gantt chart and just following along and saying, well, here's the timeline of when something should be built. No, it's actually a disruptor, and that it allows those builders to upload essentially their budget. And then after they upload their budget, we take the platform takes care of everything else. They upload the budget, and when the foundation is poured, literally they send in pictures of that foundation. They send in the invoice, upload the invoice with the picture. They say it's good to go. And the Snap.Build platform literally takes that, validates it, gets all the appropriate stuff, lien releases, things that you need, and then directly pays those subs or those vendors or whoever actually poured that foundation. And so provides a complete level of transparency, not only to the builder, but if they're building it for a customer, the customer has a login and can see the absolute progress of where they are to date. One of the biggest disruptors that we do is that if you've ever built a house or tried to build a project, the builder has to, aggregate everything. And then once a month they go down to the bank or they send it to the bank, and they have to have all of their paperwork in order, and they hand that over to the bank. And then the bank takes, another 2 weeks, 3 weeks. They have to send out people to make sure that the work got done. And by the time that whole process is done, they finally cut a check. The check takes 7 days to actually get there. And this is real life stuff. And now the vendor who performed the work is 30, 45, sometimes 60 days out from actually being able to get paid. And so that real float is what they call that cash float is very draining on small to medium sized businesses. We alleviate all of that. We literally, when something happens in our system and it is approved, we pay directly as an ACH directly to that vendor. So the builder doesn't have to worry about getting the money, then cutting another check, then sending it down the path. It literally goes directly into that vendor's pocket, into their bank account that's connected with our system. And so it, on average, takes about 5 days instead of taking an industry average of about 45 days. And that's just a real, key difference between our disruptor technology and what we have built and what we provide, and taking care of that as opposed to what the industry has been. You guys are familiar. The banking industry is antiquated. We talk about the FTC earlier, and we talk about how slow they are to react. Well, the banking industry is actually much slower than that. And so we have figured out a way to essentially sell speed. We sell the rapid way by which we can take care of all of a builder's vendors. And in doing so, we alleviate that builder from having to do really any of the project management, any of the accounts payable, any of the get the checkbook out on a Sunday night and start writing checks, any of the having to go to the bank and deposit one from one and then start writing the checks and make sure everything clears. We just simplify that entire process. And so what we really talk about is we sell speed, and our speed to market, and our speed for people to get their projects done and be more productive. And that's in a nutshell.
So that's really important if you're a contractor or a customer too, because you want the project to move as quickly as possible. And lots of times the smaller subcontractors won't do more work until they get paid, right?
Exactly.
And so that 60-day period where the subcontractor is waiting for the money may also be time that he or she's not spending on your job, right? Because they're waiting to get paid for the first part, right? So that means that the contractor can get the job done more quickly and wrap things up, get paid for that, and then move on to the next job, right?
That's exactly right. And what we talk about in that cycle is that we a lot of times we find builders that are building maybe 5 or 10 projects a year, but they don't know how to scale. They can do that as a smaller, mom and pop, I'll call that a smaller office, but now they need to start hiring people to take care of all of their payables and making sure that they're scheduling out everything that needs to occur and that the trades are showing up when they're supposed to. And if there's one glitch in that entire process, it just really slows down your project. And what kills people who take out loans and they're paying interest on their money. So as fast as they can build the project and move it from point A to the end, from the cradle to the grave, and get this off of their books, the better off they are. And so it's a speed game. Again, here, what we look at is we can essentially turbocharge, and we're looking for builders. Look, if you can do 10 on your own with our platform, you can do 100 in a year. We'll help you do that. We have become the business process experts about how you manage the money, how you manage that process through, and how you can get from point A to point B faster than anybody else. Give you an example. Our typical build process for our guys, you talk about most projects, or at least if anybody's ever built a home, it's 18 to 24 months. Our typical project is done in 10 months.
Wow.
And so, and same style house.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I got to ask you, Matt, does it also take out a lot of uncertainty for the person who's having it built? So say you're building a house and your contractor says, oh, well, you have an allowance for $5,000 for this piece of granite for the kitchen or whatever. And
$5,000 for
and
a
you don't,
piece of granite.
and you don't,
A
you
piece.
Don't, but you don't actually know what he spent on it. And then then does it actually go into your software? Yeah, we went down to the granite place and we got a $3,500 piece of granite, and that's what we're putting in the house. So the homeowner or whomever actually has a $1,500 credit. Does
A
it do
credit.
all that for you? Like
It absolutely does. It absolutely does. So it literally allows that the actual invoice for whatever was purchased is uploaded into the system, and it is stored. And if the homeowner wants to go in and take a look at that, they can look directly at it and see that that was $3,500. Another typical thing that happens in this industry for the homeowner is that they say there's a $5,000 allowance, but then they spend the $3,500, but then the builder decides that they want to put a 10 or 15% surcharge on that, and it's some kind of bundled together, and you can't really get the clarity or the transparency of it. And then you ask for the builder to please give me all the receipts so that I can do an audit or a review of this, and they hand something that came off the dashboard of their vehicle, of their truck, that's got, well, I think this is the right, oh no, I went to Home Depot and I bought something for you and for the other, and It takes away all of that. It literally says, upload this invoice specifically marked with what is this, we'll take care of the rest for you. And then the transparency for anybody that wants to look into that, here it is. If there is a question that needs to be asked, it's at everybody's fingertips. So it really allows for this. I believe a couple of things in my life that my father taught me a long time ago. One of those is, bad news doesn't get better with age. And the other one is that you just can't make a lie come true. And so if you think about that, we've taken away both of those things. If a vendor and the builder want to get paid for the work that needs to be performed, then they've got to upload the right information. And we just check that. It's very straightforward. And then and then from there, if you just want to move forward and as fast as you possibly can, then let's just move through it. And once you take away this essentially this ambiguity about what's actually happening and just go, it really is a process.
It is.
So Matt has a question. Matt, did you want to ask a question?
Yeah.
Matt McWilliams.
No, I'm listening.
Okay. Well, I
did not tap you on the knee, Richard.
Yeah,
it would have been a long read. So Matt, though, so it sounds like it's a magnificent product. Can you tell us a little bit about how the company developed the software? If somebody else is out there thinking about developing a software system, I mean, this is like a big deal. There's a lot of stakeholders here. You've got banks, you've got contractors, you've got subcontractors, and building a company that can really address all of those things is a big task. So maybe you could talk to us a little bit about how Snap.Build was actually built, and what kinds of things that people who want to work on this kind of project, what they need to know.
Yeah, great question. So, Snap.Build is actually was founded in 2014. I've come along way past then, but really what it was a lending platform that was just like everybody else does it. It's brute force with the number of bodies that you can put on the process, and it really is was essentially, how can we figure out a way that we can automate this process so that we don't have to keep adding additional people and the errors that can go along with that? What if we could automate this? What if we could just make this process a little bit simpler? Number one. Number two, and I'll get to the software piece of it, but the other side of that is that, remember, Snap.Build is not sitting on hundreds of millions of dollars of its own money. I'm actually a steward for banks who have entrusted their funds to our platform, to our company, and we make loans for them, and then we track those loans for them and the performance of that. And so a way that we maintain our integrity, maintain that we don't have bad loans, quite frankly, we don't have people that default, is that this same level of transparency that I provide to customers and builders is the exact same level of transparency that I rely on to make sure that their projects are performing as we expect it to perform. Now, so when we went about looking at that, we did a lot of business process engineering, and that sounds exciting. It just literally for me is the common sense of you need to do the first thing first, and then the second and the third, and you lay that out. And then when we laid out our business processes, I called that, you come up with what we called your single source of truth. You have to be aligned on what the single source of truth is. How do you perform your business? Once we had how we wanted to perform our business, writing our requirements, we connected with a group, a phenomenal group out of Austin, Texas. I'll give them a plug here. It's Altus Nova Software Development, probably some of the most integrity-based software engineers that I've worked with in my 30 years now in software and software development, which is really what my background was before coming here. And we connected with them and said, here's how our process wants to operate. Help us put together a prototype and the crawl, walk, run associated with, let's take the first step and see if that's met in the industry with what we really think, what we believe our thesis is, right? If we can sell speed and we can sell transparency and we can alleviate people's bottlenecks and this 30, 60, 90-day lag of payment, let's see if we just did the first order of importance. We did the first piece. Can you help us build that? And they did.
Did you have investors?
We did. This is a capital intensive business. There's no question about that. And so we do have significant investors, but we bootstrapped it like Matt talked about early on. Early on, it was, we literally worked our way. We had affiliate programs. We still do to this day. We have people that bring us new customers. We have people that bring us new loan originations, because that's part of our entire project of cradle to grave, is that we can originate a loan for you and loan you the money and then shepherd you through the process to get your house built and even get it sold, with mortgage bankers on the backside, with an entire, again, the entire life cycle that we try to take care of.
Wow,
so we had investors.
Yeah, that's awesome. I do want to squeeze in one more question. Kenya, do you have a question?
I do. This is a great platform, by the way. My husband is a general contractor. We don't build houses, but we do a lot of home improvement projects. And one of the things that we run into often is people who are maybe going into a new home and they're waiting for the closing, and then they've got X amount of funds they want to use to enhance the new home that they're buying, like that waiting process on the money to be released. Have you ever thought of scaling this down to maybe it's speaking to general contractors as well in that space? Because I feel like it would be helpful to not have to always like wait on the bank or of the other person before you could start a project. And I just was curious if you've thought to scaling to that place.
Great question. And it is on our product roadmap. And that at this point, we're doing larger scale builders who are, in that building 5, 10, 15 homes at a time and moving forward. But this entire platform, as we have our core processes down and our experiences, it is going to open up. Ultimately, I'll give you a hint, guys. Ultimately, this will be a subscription-based software platform. It's not there right now. You can't actually just go buy our software. We literally, because we are a full-service company that is helping not only talk about the software that enables what you're doing, but then it's our best practices. And so once we get that laid out, and as we continue forward, it will be a subscription base so that general contractors can absolutely tag into our system, utilize our back end, mid and back end, believe it or not, also be able to utilize a resource bank that says, if you're going to buy that $3,500 piece of granite, here are 5 places that we've negotiated prices on your behalf, and you can buy that $3,500 piece of granite for $3,300, and it's shipped directly to you, and we pay them directly, so that you're not trying to figure out the money pieces as much either. So it is on our roadmap.
That is awesome. You know what? Unfortunately, we have to end this discussion, but honestly, listeners, if you're going to build anything, like, I would just ask your bank or builder or whomever, have you heard of Snap.Build? Can we look into it and use it for this project? Because I can see so many ways that would make life easier for the person doing the project.
Great idea. Absolutely.
Well, appreciate it.
Yeah. So now,
and where Matt, where can people find out more about Snap.Build?
Yeah, it's a really hard one. It's Snap.Build, and that's it.
Okay.
Just like
straightforward.
It sounds. I love websites
That's
like that. So
that's
easy
it.
to remember.
Okay.
Snap.Build.
Yeah. So now we're going to shift gears. We're going to go from building an affiliate site, building houses and buildings, to building your psyche up. So we're going to talk
Wow,
to Joanie
that
Eisinger.
was a really smooth transition.
Was it?
That was,
Nice
this is the
segue.
part I'm
Yeah.
very interested in.
Yes, I'm trying to be smoother in my approach to things. Anyway, so Joanie Eisinger is a spiritual healer, a channel, and a guide. And if you go on her website, which is jonieswhitelighthealing.com, and we'll spell that out later, you can see all the things she has to do that she can do. But I want to hear it straight from the horse's mouth right now. So welcome, Joanie. Please tell us.
And she's also a Gearhart Law client, by the way. So
Thank
welcome,
you.
Joanie.
So
Thank
obviously
you.
very intelligent.
Bless you both for having me on the show. I just want to put out the funny that when Richard had invited me to the show, I thought Passage to Profit was PROPHET.
You're not
And
the
I
first
looked at
one.
him
not-
and
There
I
you go.
said, is this a spiritual show? And then we got to talking. So I just thought that there was just this beautiful union of entrepreneurship and spirituality that came to be in Summit, New Jersey. So
How about that?
my story is like many others, I must say. I was a conventionally trained social worker. I received my master's from Columbia. I received a postgraduate degree, certificate in Gestalt therapy. You'll have to look that up, GESTALT. And I worked for 10 years in New York City, offering individual and group therapy for drug addicts and alcoholics, as well as the mentally ill. I did not believe in anything that I do today. I was observant, religious, and this was verboten. The word psychic, medium, healer, animal communicator, etc., all verboten, and I would actually judge folks that would do what I presently do today. Around 2003, 4, 5, gifts started coming in, divine gifts. I would call myself fast-tracked. It started when I was in my 40s, and I started doing hands-on healing, getting very confused about my religious beliefs, only working with the highest of. I started reading spiritual books that were only of love, nothing dark, nothing occult. I started seeing into bodies, medical intuitive, and I must always say, disclaimer, this is for entertainment purposes. Please see your healthcare professional, mental health care, financial, and legal for all of your assistance. And then I started channeling. Folks said they lost departed ones and pets. My Joanie knew how to do this. I put myself aside. I brought in the highest of. I was doing light and deep trance channeling. Then I started jumping into other lifetimes. I started learning about chakras and auras, all the things that I used to make fun of. So it took me several years to start practicing and actually figuring out what the heck was going on. I went through a period of shock, despair, anger, because everything that I had been trained from early on, both personally, educationally, socially, and professionally, was now up like 52 card pickup. Everything was awry. And then as I was practicing on friends and receiving validation that in fact there was accuracy, I put out a shingle. I did this myself. I thought I was going to be a private therapist on Long Island. I'm this in New Jersey, and God laughs when you make plans. And I since then have done live call-in radio shows, and I'm authored, and I do psychic galleries. I've done them at restaurants. I've consulted for employees and businesses. Yes, I'm Dr. Doolittle. I talk to animals. I mean, this is crazy stuff. And that I've learned that there are many, many people that are like I am, where they are coming into their gifts, or they have from an early age. We're everywhere. Many people were told this is heinous. This is irreligious. This is something that isn't real. And it takes a lot of strength to start your own business in a field that is not professionalized, that is misunderstood, that is mocked. And many people, I believe we are all hardwired to be able to do this. I believe there's no difference between you and me. And that many people have the gifts coming in and they have not done their personal work. And I would suggest to the person that wishes to put out a shingle in this esoteric profession, have you worked on your issues? And the more that you work on your issues, your biases, your prejudices, your fears, the clearer you will be. So when divine messages come in, it will be clear for those that you serve. That's
So-
my spiel.
Yeah, that was excellent.
Thank
I do want to go to Kenya with this. Kenya's very spiritual as well. Kenya, do you have any questions for Joanie?
Well, where do you think your power comes from, Joanie?
I believe that we are all part of the oneness. I believe that we are all that humbly powerful, and that it is not I that is doing this. I am a vessel, and that the information comes from creator, source, God, spirit, whatever you wish to call God or creator. So my personal third dimensional earthly power is my having worked on myself, done forgiveness work, gone inward, cleared much regarding fears, and that the more clear that I have become, the stronger I am, the better able I am to put my Joanie aside and bring in those that are of other realms on high, only the ones that are of the highest of.
So
Yeah, I had a follow-up question.
Yeah.
If I can ask it. So
Yeah.
you had mentioned early on that you had grown up in religion and you had grown up in other things, and you felt like you had a bad experience with all of that, which is what has led you into this
I
space.
had no bad experience whatsoever. That's what was so tremendously upsetting and disconcerting, is that everything was good. There was nothing broken. So if everything was going well, and then the divine gifts started coming in, I went back to Leviticus and I read that I was a soothsayer. However, I was being blessed by departed ones with the rapture. And so I had read about the rapture, but when it comes through you as a channel, it can't help but one question whether that person is actually sinning, or whether the teachings that I learned were in fact a little bit restrictive and possibly different from what could be.
So what kinds of things do you, when you talk about special gifts and channeling, what kinds of things do you channel, and what are these special gifts that you receive?
Regarding mediumship, people ask me about departed ones and pets. I bring in their loved ones. I give information regarding why they left when they did, what their relationship was in this lifetime, the spiritual reason, not the, oh, you were their daughter, whether they had karma, whether they were working on themes. I can identify what they're doing now. That's mediumship. I'm able to identify.
So you're able to communicate with people who are no longer on the earth? Is that?
Yes, that is mediumship. I believe there are many realms, and I believe that there are folks that go home.
Well,
And-
I had a question, if I can. Or
Yeah.
did you want to continue this line?
No.
Well, what I saw on your website that really fascinated me was that you can do healing. So you can look at somebody's body and figure out what's wrong with them. Is that a correct interpretation of that?
Again, I'll say this is for entertainment purposes only. Please see your healthcare professional. And with answering that, usually illnesses, injuries, and surgeries are resultant of other lifetimes' unforgiveness. It's usually karmic. Sometimes it has to do with curiosity, being of service, but I'm able to go into other lifetimes to find out the precipitating event that occurred that tripped the person up, so I can identify the theme that they were working on in that lifetime, which is almost always the same theme that they're working on here. And then I can also identify what negative karma they incurred to self, how they blamed self, and what they generally blame to other. We do the forgiveness work. The ties of unforgiveness are released. I call forgiveness the underrated F word. And I truly believe that that will free many people from many mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual bonds that keep them very burdened. And then I'm able to go into that earthly lifetime again, where we are here, that client coming forth, and see how their forgiveness work affects their timeline moving forward. So yes, I believe that there is much outside of allopathic medicine that can be retrieved in terms of medical intuitiveness.
Matt McWilliams, I'm wondering, Matt, if you have any thoughts or questions about what you're hearing.
I have a lot. I'll stick to the business side, if that's okay. I'm curious because you're, Joanie, you're a solopreneur,
Yes.
or have you? Okay,
Solo gig.
so I'm just curious because it's been a long time since I did that. I mean, like, how you're spending obviously a percentage of your time focused on your actual the practice, right?
Yes.
What you do. How do you balance that with the things that you have to do? But I'm assuming, I could be wrong, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but all the stuff that you have to do but you don't like to do, i.e. marketing and things like that.
I love being social. I'm a social animal. So when I get into the networking piece, I always look at it as if it's an adventure. I never know what's going to happen. So as long as I stay present centered, I don't avoid doing that type of work, that 4-letter word. I actually enjoy it. So when I take that time out to sit in front of the computer, make phone calls, whatever it is, I open up my eyes. I've got that smile. It's not fakery. It's just me being me, Joanie. And I put out the hope that maybe someone will consider me for having them at a party, an event, a restaurant, find me at an expo or a festival. We'll meet for coffee, talk about the latest. And things have developed just from going to the diner. I've been invited on TV shows and the like, and that this has come out of just making a friend on Facebook, just putting out a friendship request. So I never know where I'm going to make my next connection. My business is word of mouth. I do very little marketing by way of pounding the pavement and paying others to market me. My field is so misunderstood, and many are so skeptical and or religiously based, where this is heinous heresy and the like, that I can't just go up to people and put out to businesses, hey, because a lot of people will put out the garlic and the silver bullet. And I would rather be self-preserving that way and have the universe and universe, God, spirit, source, God, create, whatever you want to call it, and my network share their experiences and have it come about more organically.
So it's more of a community then.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So can I ask a quick follow-up question? So what you're
Sure.
saying is I have to put a smile on my face and be cheery when I go meet with our CPA later, because that is the one remaining thing that I hate to do.
You know, I would say
I
that,
hope
you know how they
maybe
say
it's a new time for a new CPA. I don't
Well,
know.
when they
He's
say
a great guy. I just don't want to talk about any of the stuff he wants to talk about. So.
you know, that fake it till you make it or finding the silver lining works well with the ones that we don't necessarily want to be with, but we have to. But I would never encourage someone to put on rose-colored glasses, because that's diluting themselves. So it's really good, Matt, that you see it for what it is, you share, know how you feel, and that when you go into it, maybe with hope that this is going to be different from the other times, you never know, maybe a miracle will happen.
So Joanie,
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Elizabeth.
Go, Kenya.
No, I was just going to ask, it's you as a proclaimed healer, in Jesus's day, right? He walked the earth and he did many miracles, and he gave credit to the Holy Spirit of God, right? So what is different versus what he was doing and how he was led compared to what you're doing? And do you feel like the path that you've taken has taken you away from your origination of faith?
Well, I'm going to sound cosmic. I'm going to, so I mean, I was born a Jew, and that I would be in synagogue, and I was very religious, and we did not believe that Jesus did much. We didn't talk about him. And when the gifts started coming in, I would be in synagogue and I wanted to put my hands out, and Jesus came, my third eye, that movie screen we all have where we see other things while our eyes are open. And I saw him on the mount in Brazil, and that's all I could see. And I am not versed in the New Testament. And I believe that we have abilities as this great soul, Yeshua, and Jesus, Yeshua. And that also got me a little bit rocked, I got to tell you, because my religious training shifted greatly. I believe that we all have the ability to heal, not necessarily in the most miraculous way that he did as he walked this earth, but I believe that we are hardwired to a degree where we can assist others by bringing in the Christ light, bringing in Christ consciousness, the enlightened ones, to help ourselves and help others. What is the difference? I am not he. I am a channel, as was he, but I am not he. I don't claim to be, no Jesus complex. And I guess the difference between religiosity and this unity consciousness, which I ascribe to, is that I believe that we are all part of a greater oneness versus possibly a religious belief that we are separate from a God or a creator. I believe we're all part of that. And I don't want to offend anyone. I share my truth. I believe there's my truth, your truth, and the truth. I just show up. I would never have wanted to have been so unhinged as I was. I don't think anyone wants to be turned upside down. But on the other hand, what happened to me is so blessed, I feel, is so blessed, that I feel so happy and I feel joy and I don't have any fear. And I am assisting others so they can feel that they have ability to cope and understand why they are here in this life. That I understand if other people end up unhinged, and I applaud their bravery.
Wow, that's great. You're local to us and you do local festivals and stuff, but do you help people remotely too?
Yes, I have an international clientele base. I offer Skype and FaceTime if they have an iPhone, Facebook video if we friend, Zoom if they give me the link, phone, and in person if it's word of mouth. I don't have folks come to the house if it's through a Google search or some other, random search engine. Yes, the divine ones love us and they know us all intimately, and that I am a vessel. I don't need to see anyone. I don't need their name. I once did a reading on a live call-in show where the host read a Google question, and I did not know whether it was a he or she. I didn't know who they were referring to, but the question was just enough that I put my Joanie aside and I answered them, and their response was that it was right on. Wow. And that they could relate. I love those challenges. I don't need them, but it does validate for me that we are very, very loved. We are not forsaken, that we are all of love, and that there's a reason why we're all here.
I believe that. You had mentioned the book of Leviticus earlier, and I was just like Googling around, and it seems like you know it fairly well. And it says
No,
here,
I don't.
Oh, okay. You mentioned it.
Yeah,
So
I just got that part. Yeah, I was only able
oh,
to.
okay. Because there was
Yeah.
a verse that I came across in Leviticus 19:31. It says, "Don't dabble in the occult or traffic with mediums. You'll pollute your souls."
Right.
So how do you respond to something like that?
I believe that there's more going on than what is written in the passage and what is put there. I believe that that is for every soul to interpret how they wish to and how they wish to lead their life and whether they believe that they are sinning.
I think the concept of a cult too there has to be thought through. And of course, the Bible has at least 13 different levels that if you study the Bible and you study the religion and organized religion at that you really need to think about anything. Anyone can take anything out of context if they want. And Kenya, I'm not saying that you're taking it out of context. I would
I was
just
just
tell you
reading
that,
what the Word of God said.
right,
I'm not saying I gave meaning to it.
yeah.
I'm just reading what was there, and I was just she had mentioned it earlier, so I figured she was familiar with it.
Right. Leviticus is a
Mhm.
very complicated book, right? It is very complicated, and people spend a lifetime just trying to understand that one. Joanie, it's fascinating to me, and I applaud you for this journey,
Thank
quite
you.
frankly, because
Thank you.
there's I've read books in the past. One that comes to mind is Many Lives, Many Masters.
Oh yeah,
You
Brian
know,
Weiss.
yes, and to think about this concept is that it is. I've just boiled things down to easy statements. If you guys have heard me say a couple of them already, but life is not checkers. It's clearly three-dimensional chess, if not more chess,
More.
and so
Or 5D
in
chess.
Yeah.
that's it, right?
Yeah.
And thinking through that journey and to think that and there are so many, whether you agree with it or you don't agree with it, there's so many documented miracles that have occurred on this earth, right? That just there is no explanation for it, no matter what we try to do. And so, it leads to the fact that this journey that you're on is just an amazing journey. I applaud you for it, and
Thank you.
you probably are the reason that I'm actually was meant to be on this podcast today.
Wow.
Oh, that's
Bless
awesome.
you.
We love when we make these
Bless you. Thank you.
connections. So,
It's a rough
yeah.
road. It's a rough
Mhm.
road, and there are many that are on that road journeying. And
Well,
I just would suggest to entrepreneurs that are awakening, find a mentor.
So Joanie, unfortunately, we have to end this segment, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think that the segments we had today, even though they seemed really different, I think everybody's open to everything. And really interesting show. So how can people find you?
On my website, jonieswhitelighealing.com. There's a lot of information about me, and you can contact me through my website. There's a contact form.
Excellent.
That's great. So
Thank you.
thank you so much, Joanie. It was really very interesting listening to you, and I think I have a lot of things to think about. So I appreciate the time that you've spent with us.
Right. So we need to take a break.
We need to take a break, and we'll be.
Listeners, you are listening to Passage to Profit, the Road to Entrepreneurship with Richard and Elizabeth Gearhart, our special guest, Matt McWilliams, and our other presenters, of course, have just been wonderful. And don't go away. We're not done yet. We have a really fun end of the show to do, one more segment, and we'll be right back.
Welcome back, everybody. Passage to Profit here with Richard and Elizabeth Gearhart is just really an amazing show. Like Matt Merritt said, we went from the concrete to the ethereal in 3 easy steps.
Absolutely.
And so really fascinating stuff. And if you haven't had a chance to hear the whole show, make sure you pick up our podcast, with Passage to Profit Show, wherever you get your podcasts. So we're all over the podcast world. So
and on YouTube.
And on YouTube too. So it is time now for my favorite part of the show, because Elizabeth gets to do all the talking, and it's question time. So Elizabeth has a question for our guests. Fire away.
So we are all very creative here, I can tell. So Matt McWilliams, I'm going to ask you the question first. Everybody gets the same question. How many new projects or new companies have you thought about starting in the last month? And are there any that you would actually take action on, and why? 3 questions, sorry.
I've had like 4 or 5 since this episode started.
Yeah, I know.
No, seriously, because we're working on, I mean, we're trying to come up with some software, some right now outside of clients, we don't have any MMR, monthly or MMR, monthly recurring revenue in our business. It's all on the course side, it's all one-off stuff. So we're trying to think, okay, what are some software, low ticket software stuff? I mentioned that when we talked about the affiliate side. That's great. So, I mean, I've got software ideas. My wife and I are both the same. Like we're 20 to 30 new business ideas, projects in a month, probably. So one a day, roughly, maybe 2 a day. And then for us, the process is we just kind of take it through the team. Like we have a rule, like we let it sit for 7 days. Half the ideas we come back to 7 days later and go, that was a really dumb idea. So that's easy to rule out. We have a repository form in our project manager, Asana. We'll go in, I'll just delete them in droves, like stupid ideas, the 10 or 12 or whatever that are remaining.
You do write them all down.
I don't write them all down, but we put them in our project manager. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So I can just type a little note. And sometimes I'm like, I don't even know what that means. What does that note even mean? Like, that was a dumb idea. 10 or 12 are left. We'll kind of take them to our team and they'll filter through half of them. We'll end up with 5 or 6. Then we'll just let them sit for another 30 days and half of those will suck. And sure enough, we're left with 1 or 2. That's the process we go through. So time usually ends up being a great filter.
Yeah, that's a great idea, though, to write them down, give them time to percolate, get feedback from other people. Yeah.
So Matt, Merritt, how many ideas have you had in the last month, and how do you know which ones you want to pursue?
Well, it depends, but in the last month, it's been about 6, and all of those are enhancements, have all been, I usually get on a train of thought and, kind of a chain with respect to the project that I have at hand and all that we're doing with Snap and dreaming up new things that we can implement. Typically what we do with those is on a once a week basis, we come in and talk about what would be the next thing that could actually make something easier for somebody. And I follow that a lot, probably 6 in the last month. Some of those have been literally re-engineering and re-streamlining how we go about doing a process to make stuff work. I've helped probably 10 different groups of people start 15 or so companies over the years. I am fortunate in that while I'm not the greatest at coming up with all the new ideas, I do a pretty good job, and my track record would say so, of helping other people bring their ideas and their vision to reality. And so I do a lot more of that than dreaming up my own. And I find that tremendously creative in working to solve a problem. The ones that I go forward on, a very concrete answer is usually if there's funding somewhere associated with it, then that will find its way. We do pitches quite often and walk our way through it. And the ones that people just throw it out there and see what they think. And if it's like, I don't quite understand that, or I'm not exactly sure how that might come together, that purpose spurs for us maybe a tangent that goes off of that. But really, I have several things that I want to do when I retire from this business and move to the next one that I put on a back shelf and think that they can work. And I'll do that with my software guys when the time is right.
Wow. Impressive. So Joanie Eisinger, what about you? How many new projects have you had ideas for in the last month? And are you going to do any of them?
0. So I feel like I'm fully baked, and I'd say that maybe a new idea comes up once a year. I'm sought after. People ask me, and so if we invert that, if we flip that, I think I'm sought after every month or every other month, and there's a new activity, a new opportunity that comes up for me to showcase my skills, to assist others in some type of way, whether it's doing readings somewhere or a gallery event. Maybe a personal idea might be once a year. and that I'll throw something out there, and then the following year, maybe I'll revisit it. And you had also asked, how do I know whether to follow it? It's my intuition. I go with my gut. If there's a wall up, if there's just this big no, I just do not proceed. And then when I feel like there's some type of an open door, open window, and I feel like I could move forward, then I do. I liken that feeling to the I Love Lucy episode, which I might be dating myself, where she comes out of the bedroom pregnant, and Ethel and Ricky and Fred are in the living room, and she says, "It's time, Ricky." And her water must have broken. And I really feel that when I get that push, it's coming out of the bedroom.
Okay.
And it's pretty, and it's pretty jazzy. It's a big.
All right. Great. And Kenya Gibson, Miss Creative. What?
Oh, I've had at least 3. I'm probably underestimating, but typically my innovations come from the wellness space. I'm just big on people like finding the best version of themselves. I'm very faith-based, but I'm also very factual, and I feel like people like data and they like proof of concept and they like tangible results. So I'm continuing to work on my wellness platform that I'm launching around exercise science and neuroscience, which I won't put all the way out there, but I'm developing that. And something around water, which is, if it's not already the biggest commodity, one of the biggest commodities in this world. I'm working on something water related. So
Ooh,
yes, I'm busy.
can't wait.
Very
So,
exciting.
Richard Gearhart, how
So,
many new projects? do you think of?
I don't know. I don't keep count. I mean, I happen to think I'm just kind of infatuated with the whole process of brainstorming. I just like to come up with new ideas because it puts me in a state of pleasure just to be sort of free associating and thinking about new ways to do things for just about anything. I mean, it could be around the house. It could be certainly for
You do
the
things
business.
around the house? I'm just kidding.
Well, this is the brainstorming part. The execution part is always a separate story, right?
He's
So
thinking about it.
let me brainstorm on that for you a little bit. So no, I have lots of ideas. I write them down and I sort of go through a process of culling the list, but I keep them for a while and act on the ones that make sense. And so you and I do a lot of
We
brainstorming.
do.
So
And just a little bit of a spoiler. Richard had a couple of super great ideas that he is acting on.
I'm so excited.
And I can't say what they are because
No, you can't.
he's not. And
I'm
I have.
not going to tell our
He's not
audience.
telling.
I'm
we're
not telling.
anybody.
I'm
the
keeping.
only one.
I'm keeping attorney-client privilege for myself.
Well, you told
There
me
you
about
go.
it. Yeah, and our dog. So for me, they just like it's a stream of consciousness kind of thing, you know. I think like you, Kenya, and like everybody, it just like they come through all the time. There's some that I actually notice, and I did pick another project to start, and I'm not revealing anything about it yet because it's not time. I don't have it all set up yet, but I think that the way I picked it was it just was something really fun to do, but I also think it's something that I can monetize because I like doing things that are fun to do, but I used to volunteer a lot in my kids' schools and I ran the science program where they were doing experiments and people would always say to me, "Why aren't you getting paid for that?" And I was like, "Well, because I'm doing it for the kids." And they're like, "Yeah, but look at how much time and energy you're putting into it." So anyway, when I'm really excited and passionate and it seems like it's a lot of fun and it really be something I want to do, that's when I pursue it. So there is that. So now we have come to almost the end of the show.
Right.
We're going to talk about everybody's websites one more time, right?
Yeah. So
Okay.
why
So-
don't you take the honors?
I'll do the honors. So our guest today was Matt McWilliams, the affiliate marketing expert. And wow, did I learn a lot. And
Definitely somebody I want to be affiliated with.
do you get that a lot, Matt? And so
Well, at least it's not the opposite. So could
Yes.
be worse.
So you can find him at mattmcwilliams.com and /first100 if you want to kind of try to find out more in DIY a little bit. But if you really want professional help in starting an affiliate program, you should go to youraffiliatelaunchcoach.com. And I mean, honest, there's a lot of pieces to this that he's all put together, and he knows the best way to approach it. So that was our first guest. And then we had Matt Merritt with Snap.Build, Snap.Build.
Make building a snap.
Yeah, there you go. So he is snapping together the pieces of the banks and the contractors and subcontractors and materials and all that stuff with a computer program that really speeds up the process. And if you didn't hear him talk about it, you should, especially if you're planning to have anything built in the near future or if you're a builder. And then we had Joanie Eisinger, who's a spiritual healer, a channel, and a guide. And really fascinating conversation with her. If you go to her website, you can see the kind of services she provides, and you can contact her for help.
Yeah, experience
And
the
that's
next level.
JoaniesWhiteLightHealing.com.
Oh, sorry, JoaniesWhiteLightHealing.com. Yeah.
It's okay. Thank you.
And of course, we had Kenya Gibson, who is our media maven, and you can find her at Kenya Gibson with a P at iHeartMedia.com. And if you want to know more about trademarks, you can go to learnmoreabouttrademarks.com.
Right. And that's it for us. We'll be back again next week with another show. And while the information provided during this program is believed to be correct, never take a legal step without first checking with your legal professional. And for all your patent, trademark, and copyright needs, our firm Gearhart Law offers free consultations. Contact us at gearhartlaw.com. That's it for us, and we'll see you next week on Passage to Profit.